This is Jessica from CutesyCrafts.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make a fleece blanket. It's a no-sew fleece blanket and it has this cute braided edge. Instead of, I know you've probably seen the ones with the tied edge. Fleece is really great because it doesn't fray at all. So you can make an entire blanket without sewing it. So I'm gonna walk you through it step by step. I'm not using a full blanket here. I have a scrap here to show you, but it's the same idea, just on a larger scale when you're making an actual blanket. So this should give you everything that you'll need to make a braided edge fleece blanket. To make the blanket, you will need 2 coordinating pieces of fleece, a large ruler or yardstick, and some really sharp scissors. That's it. The amount of fleece that you need will depend on how big you want your blanket. For these, I just bought a yard of each color of fabric, and I cut each of the pieces of fabric to be about 48 by 36 inches. So after you get each yard of your fabric, go ahead and make sure you trim off like any of the selvage edges like this here, these messy edges here. You'll want to trim those off, make sure everything is straight. And again, like I said, about 48 by 36 inches. If it's a little bit bigger or smaller, that's totally fine. And this size was for lap blankets that we were making for hospice patients. And this would also be a good size to make baby blankets. So once you have both pieces of your fleece cut out and even, you want to lay them on top of each other. The right sides of the fabric, so the pretty sides of the fabric, are going to be on the outside of the blanket. You're not going to be doing any turning. So this is the lighter side, the not as pretty side. So I'm putting that on the inside. And you're going to take your ruler, and we're going to be cutting out a 2 by 2 inch square on each corner of the blanket. So I just did that by making a snip at the 2 inch mark on this side, another 2 inch snip on this side, and then move the ruler out of the way and just cut till you have a 2 inch square cut on each side. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, when you're cutting out the length and width of your blanket, make sure just that it's all whole numbers. You don't want any halves of inches when you're cutting it out. You can either place a ruler up here at the top, or if it's really long and your ruler doesn't go that long from one snipped edge over here to the other snipped corner over here, you can actually just use a piece of masking tape and tape that along the edge, and that's going to help you to not cut too far up and make a straight line of cuts right here. So when you've got this laid out, cut every inch along this line here, along the edge. And you'll want to repeat that around the entire edge of the blanket and make this 1 inch by 2 inch fringe all the way around the whole edge of the blanket. And once you've got that all cut, you're going to take each little individual fringe piece and fold it in half. And I like to use a smaller pair of scissors for this, and just snip right there in the middle. You're just making a little snip, and then you're going to do that for each layer. So snip through that layer as well. But just go along the whole blanket, making small little snips. And now for the braiding part. So I turned the blanket over. I still have my floral print on the other side. Make sure you're always working with both layers at once. And I'm going to start on one corner on the right hand side of the row and work my way to the left. So what you do with both pieces together, you're going to take the fringe piece on the left and you're going to be putting it through the hole on your right, so through both holes. So both pieces of fringe go through both of the holes. I'm just going to take this right corner of this bottom piece on the left and I'm sticking it through the one on the right. So then this becomes the new hole on the right. So now I'm going to take the next piece over on the left and put that one through the hole on the right. And then kind of just give that a little tug over. And this is my piece on the left, going through the hole on the right. And then this one is now my new piece. So just keep continue like that. Keep going down the line until you get to the end, and the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. And when you get to the last piece on this row here, go ahead and just continue it around. You can turn the blanket if that helps, and continue doing just the same exact thing. And the corners might start to bunch up a little bit. That's okay. You can kind of give it a little bit of a tug and kind of straighten it out, and it will cup up a little bit, but that's okay because it's a blanket and it's going to be nice and soft and snuggly when it's done. So once you get back here, this is where I started, and I've gone all the way around the entire blanket. You're going to do this last tab just like you normally would. And then to secure it, I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to separate these two tabs, and I'm going to go back to this first hole right here and put just one of the tabs. I separated them and put just one through there. I'm going to take these two tabs and tie a double knot here to secure it. And then you can take this and kind of open up the blanket a little bit and just tuck it inside of the two layers in there. And then you can go ahead and straighten out that corner a little bit more, and it's all hidden inside of there. So that is how you would do a braided edge on a fleece blanket. Some of the tabs out here might stick out a little bit more, and you might not like that. You can kind of try to finagle it and make it more even or move it back in, or you can just leave it as is. It looks pretty. I like it a lot better than the tied edge fleece blankets. It just looks a little bit more sophisticated and pretty, and I just really like the finished edge on this blanket. Head on over to my blog, cutesycrafts.com. There's a link in the comments to the post about this blanket that might give you a little bit more details, and it'll have all the measurements in it for you. And subscribe to my channel or to my blog for more fun craft ideas.